Everyone, we're back, and my first guest today is Owen Raun with First United Bank. Welcome, Owen. Appreciate you coming today.
Well, it's an honor to be on your show. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Tell me a little bit about yourself and your background first.
Sure. How much time do we have? I've been in the mortgage business since 1992. I've worked at a couple companies, and I had my own company for 20-some years. And since that, we sold that, and now I've been working for a couple banks, and I'm with First United Bank. Been here a couple years. I enjoy the business. It's really transactional, and it's exciting to be a part of people's, purchase of a home. It's great to help people out into new homes and to help people understand transactions and guide them through the process, because it can be a confusing process, certainly. So.
Absolutely. It's definitely a lot,
Yep.
especially with the first-time home buyers.
Oh.
How do you kind of benefit, and how do you help first-time home buyers in this process?
Sure. Yeah. Good question. Well, there's a basic application form that everyone fills out in the mortgage world, consumers. So I help them understand what goes where. I answer. A lot of times they have initial questions, but a lot of times they don't know enough to have questions yet. So you have to kind of step them through the process. Tell me about your income. Tell me about your checking account. Tell me about, do you have a retirement account? Tell me about, how much rent do you pay? Any idea how your credit rating? All those kind of questions. Gives me a picture of, where they are in the process. Are they like ready to buy tomorrow, or are they, need some work on their credit or something like that? So, but I think that's the role of a loan officer, is to kind of ask those questions of the consumer and help them understand what it takes to qualify. And then then the information flows the other way, which is, okay, so now let me tell you, if you bought that $200,000 house and you put 5% down, here's what your payments are going to look like, and here's what your closing costs are going to look like, and here's what, here's the amount of the check that you'll have to write at closing. Are you comfortable with that? And sometimes they're like, ooh, that's too much, or, what if I can, what if I bought 250, or, whatever the numbers are. You kind of get them comfortable with the numbers, and usually the two most important numbers are what's my monthly payment and what's my check that I write at closing. So.
Okay. If someone needed a little help with their credit and things like that, I mean, if you
Sure.
run their credit and it seems like they're not quite ready, what is the process for that type of person?
So we have tools within our credit system that I'll call it a what if simulator. So we will be able to say, okay, what if you paid that $5,000 credit balance down to $1,000? What does that do to the score? So we can massage the system a little bit and say, okay, let's have a plan. You'll need this amount of money, and here are the 3 credit cards you need to adjust. Simple things like that, mortgage loan officers can do. If it's a darker picture or more complicated, or there's not an easy path to improving credit, then there are professionals out there that we would refer people to, and they can help people over time build credit. There's a number of ways to do that, but that kind of takes it out of my basket and into a credit expert's basket. So,
What tips do you have for potential buyers?
Great question. I think that the number one tip I think of every realtor and every mortgage person should say is talk to a lender early. As soon as, that should be your first call to the realtor, the second call to a lender. And most realtors have, lenders that they work with. And the reason they work with them is because they're trusted and they respond. So by all means, a consumer should be talking to a lender, allow them to pull credit. I think there's kind of a general thought in the public that, I don't want anybody to pull my credit because my credits will go down. But you got to know what the credit score is, and those impacts of hard credit pulls, if there's just a couple, they're not going to be very impactful. So.
Isn't there a specific time frame too? If they're all pulled within a certain time frame, that it doesn't really affect the credit if it's done multiple times?
I've heard 2 weeks, and I've heard 21 days. So somewhere in there, if there's multiple mortgage-related credit pulls on an individual, the credit bureaus treat it as one pull.
And it'll go down like a little bit, maybe a couple points, but then it'll pop right back up because it's not really actually.
It's not abuse. They aren't applying for credit here and a credit card.
And they're not actually getting physical money. They're just applying for a loan. So,
correct.
How are the rates doing these days? I know.
Well, you already mentioned it in the intro. Man, they're super low. It's crazy low. We've been in the upper 2s and lower 3s for most of the year. The mortgage world, we like bad economic news. That's good for interest rates, and we had a whole lot of bad economic news with COVID. So rates are still super low and are projected to remain low for the foreseeable future. So,
like, you think a year, 2 years? I mean, of course, we don't have a magic globe in front of us or anything that we can.
It's kind of a play with inflation. Once the economy, if we're worried about inflation, then rates kind of trickle up. If we're calm with inflation and we're, it's a longer escalation to get back to a full economy, that's good for interest rates. So, we kind of, every day is a new day, but I kind of think we're in at least for another year in the low 3s somewhere. So.
Well, that's exciting to hear as a real estate agent, obviously.
Yep.
What programs do you have that are popular with First United?
So we have a really great jumbo program, which is for loan amounts above $548,000, just in Texas and Oklahoma. But that's really well priced and easy underwriting and less down payment required than a lot of other lenders in the jumbo space. We do construction loans, so people that own the lot and they're going to have a builder work on it, or build a home, or someone that's going to buy a lot and construct on it, so we can help with those kind of things too, which is a little unusual for mortgage companies. But we do the same things a lot of lenders do, which is FHA and VA and conventional. Do them all.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming. Do you have anything else to add about what lending or anything?
No, if someone needs to reach me, just Google Owen Mortgage. There's not many Owens in the world. And I do have a website, which is just my name, owenraun.com. Someone needs to reach out to me. But
your cell phone number?
713-417-5929.
One more time.
713-417-5929.
Awesome.
Good.
Thanks for coming.
Sure,
I appreciate it.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.